Welcome to New Wave Syndicate. This video is a voiceover of an article originally published on our blog on the 7th of December 2020. Link is in the video description. Some words were changed for the voiceover, so without further ado. "2020 has been overall a horrible year. For a number of reasons, so great I cannot even begin to list them all here. In one word, COVID. The year 2020 originally met with ambitious hopes of the sequel to the Roaring Twenties. In reality, this ended up being a year of the fear of extinction, whether that has been the US and Iran in a war game of nuclear chicken, Australian bushfires and American wildfires, turning the skylines hellish red for a brief moment as a reminder of our impending climate disaster. And most ironic of all, the sequel to the Roaring Twenties was met from the outright with lockdowns and stay-at-home orders. Almost all celebrations and recreations cancelled, and being forced to wear a piece of medical fabric in hopes to return to normal. Despite being such a horrible year, 2020 does not appear to be an episode as much as it is a pilot to a series. That is, the 2020s. It is very unlikely that 2020's problems will disappear into the next month. Hell, we will be lucky if we can have a normal Christmas next year without pandemic mandates. So, considering that this appears to be the new norm, I believe, the left should take away some takeaways from this year in order to readjust ourselves to become a more efficient movement in the coming decade. I have compiled 5 of them. They are as follows. 1. Abandon hope. I already know what you're thinking. This is a horrible suggestion. Are you kidding me? Seriously? Like, come on, man. Hold up. Relax. I mean, abandon hope in the system. We must abandon electoralism, at least as our primary means of change. The Democrats have made it clear that they have no intention of helping us, and they don't feel they need us. Some left-leaning people have taken this as an opportunity to surrender and to sell out most of their positions to try to seduce the Democratic Party establishment one more time. I say, fine. We do not need the Democrats either. Anti-capitalism has always been a revolutionary movement. You cannot change the system from working within it. You must escape it, deconstruct, and reconstruct it. When I say abandon hope, what I actually mean is abandon hope that the system can be reformed with electoralism, and abandon hope that your ideas alone will prevail. There are no ends if there are no means. Abandon hope that the greatest evil on this planet and that the human race has ever known can be defeated by playing by its rules and using civility and pacifism. Capitalism will disregard any rules it has claimed to have set for itself, so you should do the same. As Comrade Fidel Castro said, revolution is not a bed of roses. It is a fight to the death between the future and the past, and it is up to us to ensure that fighting to the death is won for the future. Number 2. Stay hopeful. I know, stay hopeful, right after abandon hope. But hear me out. As I said already, you should lose hope that the destruction of capitalism can be accomplished through anything less than revolutionary means. But you should build up hope on an individual and collective level, and for the movement. There is this notion among the anti-capitalist left that we are at the will of a cruel and unloving power who could destroy us at any moment, and there's no chance of achieving that. As long as you believe revolution is impossible, it is. But if you believe revolution is possible, it is inevitable. And let me tell you, revolution is possible. We have the numbers and the ability in us to revolt, and we've done it before. Demoralization, as a tactic of our enemy, is the name of the game. We must not succumb to it. Our enemy, the capitalists, fear us. That is why they fight us. They fear us because they know and see us for the threat we are. An apocalyptic threat for them and their class. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Number 3. Never let them forget. Coronavirus has been not half bad radicalization tool for the left. as the problems caused by coronavirus are almost innately capitalist problems. There would not be homeless people or food insecure people had we had a socialist economy. You would not need to worry about losing your job if you owned your own labor. You wouldn't need to worry about our healthcare system being overrun if you had a centrally planned public healthcare system. You would not need to worry about your economy being destroyed if it were centrally planned. You would not need to worry about whether or not your elected owners decide whether you are worthy of a stimulus if you had a dictatorship of the proletariat. All of these problems associated with the pandemic are problems of our capitalist economic system, and it's no surprise that socialist countries have done an amazing job handling COVID-19, and in a causation correlation, the more capitalist a country is, the worse it has handled the pandemic. That being said, no matter how effective COVID-19 has been at radicalization, there will be a liberal tendency, no doubt, once this pandemic is over, to take these leftist sentiments off with the masks. It is absolutely essential we do not allow that to happen. We must make it known and remembered. It was not COVID-19 that was the monster. Rather, a capitalist, neoliberal electoral system which completely fumbled a simple pandemic with sheer incompetence. And because of capitalism, while Vietnam and China are back to normal, America was going through a third wave with records being repeatedly broken for days straight. If we are lucky, material conditions will continue to stop people from forgetting and going back to brunch. But if that fails, we must stop them. 4. Appeal to everyone, and to those you wouldn't. Leftists can be very picky. Oftentimes, I have seen leftists repeatedly refuse to appeal or speak to conservatives or religious individuals, which I always thought was strange, as rural folk and religious people were at one point the backbone of the American left. The priests were the ones who walked at the front of the civil rights marches of Martin Luther King Jr. and the anti-war protests during Vietnam. The rednecks and the hicks used to be an anti-fascist vanguard, like the hit folk singer Woody Guthrie, considered the spirit of America, singing lyrics advocating for the abolishment of property, and hit folk songs such as "You Fascists Are Bound to Lose." Hell, the first rednecks were striking coal miners when they hung red neckerchiefs around their necks to symbolize their alliance with unions and the strike. These groups used to be the front of the American left. So what happened? Simple. We stopped talking to them. For religious people, with the new atheism movement, people began to sort of see themselves above religious people, and thus they were no longer worth talking to. With rural folks, the left has adopted the sentiment that rural people are uncivilized hicks who engage in incest and were thus not worth courting. And the right swooped in, taking these groups under their wing. And next thing you know, religious people are denying COVID, and farmers are chanting "Build the Wall." Any piece on the chessboard that is not actively claimed by us is or will be taken by the enemy, and we need every piece we can muster. Understand that every recruit and conversion is of immeasurable value to the cause, and if they are willing to listen, they are worth being talked to. Number 5. Don't celebrate until you've won. A lot of leftists have a very common tendency to celebrate the smallest of advancements. Hence, parts of the left at large celebrating people like Bernie in the Senate or AOC in Congress, despite the fact their actual congressional careers are frankly not worth celebrating. We must understand, as anti-capitalists, there is no victory until capitalism is destroyed and another, better system takes its place. Do not allow yourself to become bogged down in electoral semantics and meaningless virtue signaling and celebrating over things that are backhanded achievements at best and false hopes at worst. There is no celebration until we've actually won. We must stay vigilant and push forward with unending resolve until our day of celebration, the day when capitalism is overthrown. The world, humanity, and life itself is dependent on it. 2020 has been a hell of a year, and we are in for a hell of a next year for the rest of the foreseeable future. But let us make use of 2020 to allow ourselves to take on the years to come more efficiently. Revolution in our lifetime. Caleb Blair. Thank you for watching this video blog. It would help us if you were to like this video and go to our blogger page, link in the description, and subscribe to receive notifications about future blogs. If you yourself would like to write an article and contribute to our blog, then don't hesitate to join our Discord and become an active creator. Link to our Discord is also in the description. See you soon, and remember to collectivize, edify, and overcome.